looks like about half of us know what it is but haven't started using it. A few of us have started using it but haven't used it with students. And then we have a couple people that are using it with students, which is awesome. Cool. Okay, so I am going to share my screen again and go back to our slides. And then before we jump into this, I just want to introduce myself again. I'm Mara Velasic. Hopefully you've been to one of the Pear Deck sessions with me, or you've attended one of the Pear Deck webinars that they're offering as well, and you kind of have a basic idea of what this is. And I am the instructional technology coach at Mount Lake Terrace High School and Linwood High School, and I've kind of taken Pear Deck as my project during this time because I think it's an awesome tool. K-12, really it's like K-80. I would probably have fun doing this with all adults. I've definitely used it in PD sessions at Mount Lake Terrace multiple times, which is pretty fun. And then Teresa Lind is here as well. Teresa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am the secondary math lead, so I support the math teachers grades 7 through 12.
Perfect. And Teresa is going to monitor the chat with questions. We're a pretty small group, so I'll pause for questions. You can either add those to the chat or you can also just unmute yourself, and I'd be happy to stop as we go along. There's just a few things I want to cover first, and then we'll have some time for questions or troubleshooting or tips if you're already using this in your classroom. And just as an FYI, the training is being recorded. We found out that only certificated staff right now can get clock hours for these sessions. If you're not certificated, I would definitely keep track of what you're attending just for your own records. And then hopefully that'll change for paras in the fall is kind of their plan to revamp clock hours for paras. And then make sure you register for that PD portal course just one time. And then we'll go between this Zoom screen share and a Chromebook page for Pear Deck. Excuse me. If you're on the teacher computer, you can use that task view icon in the bottom left corner to switch between screens. If you're on a Chromebook, you can click and hold Alt and then click Tab to switch. And then I'm also going to give you the bit.ly for this slideshow if you want to be able to reference this later. All of this information is on our resource page on the staff site for Pear Deck. But if you just want quick access to the information we shared today, you can have that. And so our agenda, I'm going to highlight some newer features of Pear Deck, like recording audio on slides, the immersive reader, how to embed a video. There's a Power Up add-on that will help your videos run more smoothly. And then Pear Deck and Edpuzzle. If you've heard about Edpuzzle, I'll just do a quick overview of Edpuzzle and then show you how you can integrate those two tools. And then there's just some toolbar settings that I found recently that are pretty helpful. And then we'll have some time for tips and questions. Please mute your audio when you're not speaking. You can use the chat to ask questions, or you can unmute yourself. Teresa will be monitoring the chat. And then your video camera is optional, but encouraged. I can see some of your faces, which is enough to feel like we're having a conversation. So thanks for that. Any questions about the agenda or norms or anything so far? Nope. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a couple of cool new features of Pear Deck. So I'm going to open up the Pear Deck toolbar on my Google Slides right here. And Pear Deck recently added the ability to add audio directly onto your slide. So you can now record yourself narrating a slide, and that audio can be added onto a slide that's interactive, that already has an interactive feature. It also can be added to a slide that does not have an interactive feature. So if you have some slides in between that don't have interactive features, you can record audio on that as well. And how you do that is just in the toolbar. So they've added this section of the Pear Deck toolbar called Add Audio. And so I'm going to show you what this looks like. You click Add Audio to Slide. It opens up the slide or the audio recorder. I already have audio on this slide, so I'm going to delete this one. And we'll start over. So I'm going to add audio to slide. It's going to open up the audio recorder. Oh, not deleting my old one. There we go. And it will look like this to record. So I can click record. It will start recording my audio. One thing that I don't love is that they didn't make this so you could minimize it, so you can actually see what's on the slide behind it. So just know that there isn't an option right now to minimize this. I told James at Pear Deck that that's extremely annoying because you cannot see the whole slide. So hopefully they're working on that. Once you're done, you can click pause. You can save it, you can delete it, you can resume recording. If I like it, I can save it. Here's where I can preview it, and then I can also delete it. And then I'm gonna add that audio to my slide. So when the audio is actually added to the slide, you get this little box, and it shows up actually in the upper right corner of the slide as default. This is where that recording is embedded. So I can make.
We lost you there for a minute.
Oh no. Dang it. Okay, I'm gonna call in on my phone.
We heard what you get a little box. When the audio is recorded, you get a little thing. That's
it, Anna? Oh no. Okay, let me just call in on my phone. Okay. Man, it's just recently this has been happening, so. Okay, give me just 1 second here. Oops, feedback, sorry. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Your video a little bit delayed. Oh, I think my internet is just not cooperating. Okay.
Maura, Mary had a question in the chat.
Okay, great. When audio opens, it blocks the slide. Anyway, change. Okay, that was a great question, Mary. So that's where I got cut off a little bit. So when you're at recording, you can't move this audio box over. So I told Pear Deck that this is really annoying because you can't actually see the whole slide as you're recording. It's something that they're working on, but you'll just bear that if you're recording, this doesn't actually minimize or move. So you can record, it will record your voice. Once you're done, you have a couple options here to delete, resume, or save. Okay. And you can preview your audio here and then add it to the slide. Does that answer your question, Mary?
Yeah, but it looked like you were able to move the box around.
So you can move it.
Because I couldn't get it to move at all. It just was popped up right in the middle of my slide and wouldn't move over.
So if you clicked here, you tried to drag it, it wouldn't move?
Right. Well, when I clicked on add audio and then I clicked on the box, it wouldn't move at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was just a little bug yesterday or not.
Yeah, it should be able to. I've done this quite a few times, and I've been able to move this box around and resize it. So I might try again. Let me know if it continues though.
Okay, and then somebody who accessed the Pear Deck said that when they clicked on the audio, it filled the screen, so they weren't able to read the slide and listen to it at the same time.
Okay, actually, when you were presenting, when you had it in presentation mode, okay. It should look like for your students. Let me show you what that looks like on these slides. Is it should have that little icon on the slide, and then they'll also get a little headset icon in the bottom right corner for any slide that has recorded audio. So let me just open this from the student view. I'm gonna skip that. So if you notice on this in the bottom corner, there's a little headset right here. So the student can click that and then press play to hear the audio recording. So they get this headset here. If they click here, this is really actually not allowing them to play, just reminding them there's audio on this slide. So they're not going to click this play. They're going to headset in the bottom right corner. So that might have been, I don't know what's the issue, Mary, but this is where they're actually playing the audio. Okay, let me go back to slideshow. Audio, you can do that on any slide. Again, the students will get that little headset icon in the bottom right corner and they can play the audio there. There's also a tutorial on the resource page for recording the audio. I also wanted to just cover the immersive reader again. I went through this pretty quickly in my original webinar. Has anyone used the immersive reader yet, or had their students test that out? Does not look like it. Okay. The immersive reader is a really cool feature available on every slide in your Pear Deck slideshow that has text. It only reads the text you have included on the slide. So any text that you have directly on the slide would be read aloud by the immersive reader. So I'm going to show you from the student view what that looks like. So here is, let me go to the next. Here's this slide. So I've added all text right here. So the student would click the immersive reader icon in the bottom right corner. And what the immersive reader is going to do, it's going to pull all the text from that slide and put it in the immersive reader. So here's all the text that I had included on that slide. From here, they have voice settings in the bottom right corner right here, where they can speed up or slow down the voice. They can also choose a male or female voice. And then if they press play, the immersive reader will start reading that text out loud to them. In the upper right corner, these are some other tools that they have. So they have preference, where they can use kind of a screen masking tool to mask just one line text at a time or 3 lines of text at a time. They can translate here, so I can choose another language. If I choose Spanish, I can translate individual words. If I click on a word, it will let me read aloud the English version, the Spanish version, and then read some pictures because I've enabled that picture dictionary. So do that word by word, or I can also do that by the whole document. So if I click the whole document under translate, it will translate the entire document to Spanish, and then I can click play, and it will read that out loud to me in Spanish. What's really nice about this is that I can also switch back to the original. So I can go from the English version to the Spanish version back and forth as a student. There's some other options up here. Grammar, I can highlight different, or I can color code different words from the text. So if I want now to be in purple, I can turn that on. I can turn verbs in red, and it will do that both in English and in Spanish. That's pretty awesome. And then text preferences, I can increase the text size. The spacing increased, so added more space in between the letters and the words. I can also change the font. I can also change the theme, so I can change kind of the background of text. So these are all features within the immersive reader. In order to open the immersive reader, the student has to click on that icon in that slide specifically. Any questions about the immersive reader?
I have a question, Mara.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
How would you recommend teaching that to kids? Like, I'm thinking kids that need the Spanish, that can be really hard to teach them to get to online. Is there like a YouTube video in Spanish or something that I can them?
That is a great question, Sarah. And that's something that I've asked James about, like what these are a Pear Deck rep. And I said, you know, this immersive reader, it was in beta for a while, so it was kind of in testing. And only recently has been something that they are recommending teachers use and have not had any problems. It's pretty new, and I asked them about resources like, do you have video direction on how to show students how to do this? And they don't yet. So it's something that I've added to my list of things I'd like to do, to record kind of a tutorial for students from the student perspective. I could record in Spanish as a Spanish teacher in my previous life, but I would be limited to that. So it's something that I would like to work on, that I've added to my to-do list, and I'll put that on our resource page as soon as I have it. We have the staff resource site, which is for staff during the closure. We also have that family site that went out right when we closed. And as an instructional tech team, we're also trying to put on that family site any tutorial that we make for students. So, you know, how to join a Zoom meeting would be a tutorial that students might need. How to join a Pear session. So any Pear Deck tutorials, I'm also trying to get onto this site. So as soon as I have that, I'll also put that update on our staff that there are now Pear Deck tutorials for students on the family site.
we're just kind of in the steps of getting that together right now, because it's just, you know, there's a lot of other stuff going on. So yeah, question.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so if I'm going to back out of the immersive reader, and because I changed background color, I can't see. There we go. Oh, see, this would be good for students to know how to back out of also. I think I'm missing something here. Well, Sarah, I'm going to figure out how to do that too. How to get out of the immersive reader once you're in it. I've done it before. Oh, here we go. There's the little exit right there. Okay, perfect. Let's see. If we keep going in just our stuff to cover, another thing that you can do is you can embed a YouTube video or a video inside of your Pear Deck session. And the way to do that is to use the website tool. So to add, to use this website interactive tool button to be able to embed a Wii video or YouTube video. So what that looks like once you have it there is it will look like this. So here's a YouTube video that I've embedded in this slide. I can include any directions for that on the actual slide itself. When students are in the session, they'll be able to play the YouTube here and then continue with the slideshow. We can't start and stop time for that video, so we're kind of limited to that. If you're recording videos or YouTube videos, thinking about recording them in short segments or creating short segments that you could embed into your slideshow and then add some interactive slides in between those would be good. But we're kind of limited in what we can, we're limited in how to embed. We can just put it there, but we can't really put a start and stop time. And I'm going to show you how you actually do that. So if I wanted to embed a YouTube video here, I go on the website slide, and it's going to ask me for the embed address. So I need the address from the YouTube video to embed here. So let me show you an example. Put one here. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go to YouTube. And I'm going to go to my channel. So once you have a YouTube video that you want to embed, you have to click this share button at the bottom of the YouTube video right here. And then you get the embed code. You would think that you would take this first website right here, but this is just a link to the URL. We need the embed URL, which is a little bit different than just the URL to the YouTube video. So if we click the embed button, this is our embed code. So if we wanted to put this embedded into a website, this is the code that you would use for it. But what we actually need is just the website that's embedded in the embed code. And so that starts with HTTPS and it ends with that FSUC. And this happened last time I was Zooming. It wouldn't let me just the code while I was in a Zoom meeting, but it lets me do it outside of a Zoom meeting. But you would copy just this embed code right here. And then you would put that, you would put just that site from HTTPS. You would copy just that right here. And it will automatically take out the HTTPS // part, and it will just put this here. And once you paste that there, and it will let you preview that slide, and then you click update slide. So it's a couple extra steps. You have to get the website from that embed code for it to work correctly. You can't just copy the URL from YouTube. But then that will embed your video into the Pear Deck slide. The same is true for Wii Video as well. So if you go to Wii Video, if you're creating Wii videos and want to use those, you can. We do recommend that any tutorials or any recorded videos that you're doing, it is best if you create, if you add those to YouTube and just make them unlisted so they can't be searched publicly. And the reason behind that is that YouTube creates its own captions. So if it has like an auto caption feature, WeVideo does not. WeVideo, you have to manually type in those captions. There's not an easy way to create captions in WeVideo. It is an extra step to get any of your tutorials to YouTube, but that is the best way to have captions available for your students. But if you have WeVideos right now and you want to put those in right now, you can open up an export. So you would open up WeVideo, click on exports. Here's an example of one of my WeVideos. I would click that share icon in the bottom right corner of WeVideo. And again, here's the link, the direct link to the video, but then here's the embed code. And this embed code for WeVideo also has that website embedded in it. So it's that HTTPS until the end of that last little quote. So I would copy just the website that's embedded there. And then on my Pear Deck, I would click the website button. And then I would paste that WeVideo code right here. It's going to load a preview for me, and then I click update slide, and that embeds that video on the slide. Any questions about embedding videos in your Pear Deck? No? Okay. Again, it would be great if you could get those to YouTube. If you need help with that, you can reach out to your instructional tech coach. We all have YouTube channels that are unlisted that are ways that we create these tutorials too. So it's an extra step, but it's not too hard. Okay, I also wanted to talk about Edpuzzle. So is anyone using Edpuzzle right now that could tell us what Edpuzzle is? So it's not just me talking at you? No? Okay. Edpuzzle it's been around for a while. There are pockets of Edmond School District teachers that are using it and have been using it. There is a free version. I think you have an upgraded account until the end of the year. All of these tools and like companies are offering these free accounts, to entice teachers to use these tools. So then in the fall, when they become paid subscriptions, they now have new users with accounts. So we are trying to be very hesitant in what we recommend to you to start building content in, because we also don't want that to be something that you have to pay for then moving forward. Edpuzzle has gone through a tech review. I've used just the free version, and I think the free version works just fine. And what Edpuzzle does is it lets you take any YouTube video, whether it's a video you created or a video that's already on YouTube, and it lets you embed interactive questions. So similar to Pear Deck, where you're adding interactive slides, you can put questions within the Edpuzzle video that students have to respond to before they can move on with the video. So it's pretty fun if you have a very intense video and you pause it right before the climax of the video, and then you ask a couple questions. It's definitely an engaging tool for any videos that you're doing with students. So Edpuzzle is fairly intuitive. Krista Polson is doing a couple sessions on Edpuzzle each week. So if you're interested in learning more about that, there's a lot of teachers going to her sessions to learn. So here's an example of an Edpuzzle video. It's just one I took from YouTube from Vox about social media. And then I've added some interactive questions within the puzzle. So as you add those questions, they show up at the bottom, and then students have to answer the question before they can move on. So if you wanted to put this Edpuzzle video into your Pear Deck session, you can also do that. And Edpuzzle will keep track of the responses for you, for what the students respond to that, but it doesn't go then into the teacher dashboard. So it's not a seamless integration. You would still have to go to Edpuzzle to see how the students responded to those questions within the Edpuzzle, but it can be integrated with Pear Deck. So if this was my Edpuzzle, I would click Assign for Edpuzzle. I would click Public Links. And again, it's the same thing where you have to take the link from the embedded code. So I would copy just that hyperlink, or just that URL that's inside the embedded code. And then I would use that exact same button on Pear Deck, that website slide button. And I would put the embedded code into my Pear Deck session. So it's the exact, oops, I left it in there. It's the exact same steps that you take to do that. And then for students, they would see the Edpuzzle. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's an example of that Edpuzzle embedded. again, it's just a YouTube video I took, and then here's the interactive question. So when they get to an interactive question, that question would pop up on the screen. So they could continue with that ed puzzle, but still be inside the Pear Deck session. So it's not a lot of extra things for students to learn, actually, to do ed puzzle, because they don't have to log in or do any of that stuff. Once it's in this Pear Deck session, they can just answer the questions as they go. Any questions about that? I know there wasn't a lot of experience with Edpuzzle, so I would encourage you to check out the resource that Krista also has on our website if that seems something that would be interesting to you. And okay, let's see. Okay, the Pear Deck Power Up add-on, this is an extension that's available for you. It's called Power Up, and what it does, Pear Deck's created it to ensure that your videos and any animation that you have in your slides and any GIFs that you have, like any moving objects in slides, work to their full capacity in your sessions. So when you add this, it's just a Google Chrome extension. So you would open the Chrome Web Store, type in Pear Deck Power Add Up, and then you would click Add to Chrome. I've already added it to Chrome, and it's just this little Pear icon right up here. So it just has to live in your extension bar. Once it's there, you don't have to do anything extra. You just need it installed so that your videos and animation can work. Without the Power Up add-on, any animation that you have, like if you want text to enter as they click, or you want things to disappear from your slides, those animations don't work unless you have the Power Up add-on. So that's why they created it, because they realized that stuff's not running at full capacity without it. And that is also on our resource site for Pear Deck. So I have a whole section on that resource site page for the Power Up. It's right here, Pear Deck Power Up. So there's a link to add it, and then just information about it there. Okay, and then toolbar settings. So if you opened up Pear Deck, the Pear Deck toolbar in your Google Slides, there's this little hamburger icon right here. And there's a couple extra ways or extra settings here. So there's a YouTube or a video tutorial of how Pear Deck works. You can also publish and share your lessons from here. What that means is you're actually, you're not publishing lessons for students, you're publishing your session or your slides for other teachers. So you're kind of adding it to the Pear Deck library. So if you wanted to share resources with others and make them publicly available, oh man. Pear Deck has been doing a lot of updates lately, and I've gotten this message today, of course, a couple times. So just know that that is that's Pear Deck having like technical issues today, because they've been doing all these add-ons. So James said that might happen today. And then here you can also turn on to require student logins, which we recommend that you have students log in the first time so that you can see their names attached when they join a session. If you don't do that, they'll show up as avatars. So it'll be like bear eagle with an icon instead of their actual name. And then there's also a link in this toolbar to go straight to peardeck.com. So if I click review sessions, it's going to take me to my Pear Deck account to my sessions page so that I can review what sessions I have open as student-paced. If I have any live sessions going, I can see that there, and I can also end these sessions from here. So there's just a couple extra tools in that little sandwich icon right here. Okay, and those were all the only things I wanted to cover. Again, we have that resource page on our website. You have the bit.ly for this slideshow, and then peardeck.com is really your best resource for accessing your sessions and also changing any settings on your account. So I would like to open up to questions. Are there any questions right now that you have as you are experiencing Pear Deck?
Robin here.
Hi, Robin.
Hi. Hey, now I'm kind of hoping to see some of either our teachers or other teachers using these things like Pear Deck. Like I want to see an example.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Yeah. How do we see that kind of thing?
That's a good question. I have one example. Let me show you from your school, actually. Da, 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 da. So we know that the biology department at Linwood High School, they are, let's see. Let me find hers. I know she shared it with me. The biology department at Linwood High School, they're creating their slideshow together. So they're creating one slide deck all together. They're adding Pear Deck interactive features to it, and then they're each using that slide deck for their individual classes. So I know that Brenda Torres, one of the biology teachers, she has created this slideshow with other teachers. She's then sharing one session for all of her biology students. So for all, I think she has 3 periods of biology. And so she has been using it, and I think she started just a few weeks ago with it, and she just added a few, she just added a few of the features to her slides. So here's an example of one of her slideshows, and then here's an example of how her students would respond. So this is a text response slide. Here's her question prompt: what is the function of a hemoglobin? And so students are writing their response for as the Pear Deck interactive slide. Here's another example of one. Draw a normal red blood cell and a sickle red blood cell. Note, draw directly on the slide itself. So this one, students are actually drawing an image of those things on her slide. And one thing I do like about her slideshow is that it's let's see, 17 slides, but she only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She has 5 interactive slides within that slideshow. So she's trying not to do too many, so it doesn't lose its novelty, but also enough to kind of break up the slideshow itself. So let's see, here's another example. So this is a text response, so students are writing their response. Let's see, here's a written response one as well. So pretty complicated content, but having the students interact with that content as they go through the slide. And then she has
Oh, sorry, go ahead, finish up.
Oh, she has at the end just like a checkout, kind of an exit slip slide. How well did this lesson go? This slide is anonymous, so feel free to be honest. And then when done, simply close the browser window. So something we talked about when she was getting ready to use this slide with her students was, how do they end? So when they reach the end of the slideshow, there's no end or exit button. There's no submit button. So the students just close the slideshow. So she put a note on that slide to let them know.
I'm gonna try one at I'm a coach at elementary school, and I'm gonna try one to just show a teacher about it at one of her class meetings. She teaches 4th grade. So if you want, I can show. It's for like a morning meeting, so it's not academic heavy.
Okay.
Oh, but I can't share my screen. Never mind.
Oh, I just let you, Anna. I just had to update that. Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay. They can get some feedback too. They haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So, and Brian, the tech coach, is like, oh, make sure to put in for the first time they're doing it, how to switch between tabs for the kids, just a reminder for them so they remember, because they have to leave their Zoom tab and open up another tab to access the Pear Deck. So I was just going to do some of these would you rathers. And I made a star, I made it a red star, and so they move it to one side or the other. And then what I was actually hoping, and I have this question for you, I was hoping that when I see their responses, I could see their names or their logins or whatever next to the stars. And so then I could call on someone to say, tell me why you chose the pet rat, and have them unmute and talk about it. But when I tried it out with myself, I couldn't see names next to the responses. If there's a way to do that?
Yeah, so you can't see them next to the response in the teacher dashboard. In the teacher dashboard, you can see their response and their name attached in like the grid layout, where it's like individual. You would be able to see it in the grid layout. If you have an overlay layout where it's all their responses are on top of each other, you wouldn't be able to see their names attached to it.
Okay, I'll try looking at the grid layout. I also thought, it's okay. I could just call on someone, or who wants to share why they put it where. And then I like this question. Would you rather become 5 years older or become 2 years younger? And why? And then I was going to try this. This is like a math routine that we sometimes do, where there's not one right answer, but so they have to defend their reasoning. So this was a multiple choice one, and they would type in I realized too, when I was looking at responses, I couldn't see the images of the dogs, so I kind of had to go back and forth to see which letter matched which dog.
Okay.
And then I was going to try a drawing one, just kind of let them have fun and see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Fourth graders. So that's it.
Cool.
That's what I care.
So Anna, I'm going to show you an old Pear Deck session. So this was one of the webinars that we did a while ago. So this would be the same for you in that drag slide. When I open the teacher dashboard for that, if I look at it in the overlay, I can hover over here and I can actually see their name attached to the line. So I could see that Deborah put her line right here. So you would hover over their star and see the name attached to it in the overlay. But you could also do the grid layout, and then that lets you see their name and then where they put that draggable icon.
Okay,
So
I must have been looking at their responses in a different, maybe just right on the slide. I think I didn't even go to the teacher dashboard like you are. I think I just saw it. So that's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, so every time you start a new session, it really opens up two windows. It opens up the projector view, which is really what you would put on the projector, which is anonymous. So that just shows their responses. It would show like exactly like this with the overlay or the grid or the list layout, but it wouldn't have their name attached to it. But you really have another window open as well. And the other window is the teacher dashboard, and that has their names attached to it. So you really have two windows that are open at the same time.
All right, good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see. Robin asked, do you visualize using Pear Deck more for live interactions with students or available 24/7 via? I think that Pear Deck was initially created for those live interactions. So for engagement in the classroom, being able to be with the students, have them respond on their individual device, see those responses on the projector so everyone can participate in those questions. The student-paced session was really meant then, once I've done a live session in class, I can take that live session, make it student-paced, make that available for students that were absent. So students that weren't there would then still be able to go through the same slideshow that we did in class, add their responses, and be included in that session. So that was the original thought. Once we went into this distance learning, it became a little more complicated, because if you're doing live classes on Zoom, students are having to switch between the Zoom screen share to see those responses that would be on the projector and their device to actually respond. I think the student-paced session in this remote learning is awesome, because we can't guarantee that all students are going to be able to log in at the same time on specific days to have that live session. So having the student-paced session is super powerful, because they can complete the learning on their own at their own pace. And the teacher can still have all of those responses in one place and be able to see how they're doing. So I think in the classroom, those teacher-paced lessons are super powerful. In this distance learning, I think the student-paced sessions are really powerful. Great. Any other questions? Just to go back to Anna's question about the student or the teacher dashboard. Oh my gosh, I have way too many tabs open. Let me go to just peardeck.com, and I'm gonna minimize the chat. Once you have started a session, so you always start your session from Google Slides, either student-paced or teacher-paced. Once you've started that session, you can always access those sessions from peardeck.com. So if I was in the classroom and I started a live session with my students, I might I do that on the Chromebox, and then on my computer or even on my phone, I would log into peardeck.com and I can open that teacher dashboard view for that session that's happening right now. So that ability to be able to open the teacher dashboard on a separate device is really powerful, because you can control the slideshow. You can move through the slides on the teacher dashboard from your device as you walk around the classroom or as you check in with students. So I think using the peardeck.com and the sessions here is really nice for being able to open those teacher dashboards for any sessions that you've done, but especially if you still have, like if this was a live session that I have going in my classroom, I can click here to open the teacher dashboard on a separate device. So I think that's a really useful tool. Yeah. Any other questions? Let me check the chat.
When you say separate separate device, so I'm running it on my ThinkPad and then I'm using my phone?
In the classroom, Robin, you would probably start the session using your Chromebox. So every classroom has that Chromebox, which is essentially its own computer. So you would log into the Chromebox, open up your Google Slides, start the session on your Chromebox, and then I would log in to peardeck.com on my ThinkPad computer, and you can fold your ThinkPad into a tablet, so it would just be kind of like an iPad that I would be carrying around with the teacher dashboard on there. So you could have the teacher dashboard open on your computer.
So I'm realizing that I'm different again, because here I am in a computer lab, so there's no Chromebox. Okay, so never mind.
You don't have a Chromebox in your computer lab, Robin?
Well,
you should. Every classroom should.
Well, hang on, Mara. If I do, I'm unfamiliar with using it because my computer lab has a teacher demonstration computer. And that's my primary mode of demonstrating. So I'll check that out.
Yeah, we can check that out too. And you could use your teacher demonstration computer. You could log in, you could open your Google Slides there and start your presentation, and then just use your laptop if you wanted to log in on a separate device for the teacher dashboard.
Yeah, thanks, Mara. I was picturing remote instruction.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Sarah asked about a library to share Pear decks. Would you rather slide? She would love a copy of Anna's Would You Rather slides. Yeah, that would be awesome, Sarah. I agree. I don't know. I'll ask James about that. Like if they're thinking about that, creating some sort of housing place for Pear decks. I know that we could create something like that, like a Google site or something. I would just hate to add more places for you to go for things. But you know what would be possible is just a shared Google Doc. I could add a link to that on the resource page for Pear Deck, and you could just paste any slideshows that you would like to use or that you'd like to share with others. So I will do that and add that to the resource site. So Anna, if you're willing to share, that would be awesome. To share that, and you could share your Google Slides as just view only, and then people just make a copy of them. So no one's like editing your original slides. Yeah, that's a great idea. Great. Any other questions before we wrap up? Yep, there's a question about the bit.ly. I will add that in. I close my Pear Deck session. Let me get that back. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll put the registration form back in the slides as well. And then you are free to head out. If you have any questions about Pear Deck specific, I'm happy to answer them. So you can email me directly. And then I'll let you know as soon as I get that Google Doc on the resource page.